Well, I need to welcome you back, and indeed, we'll see what the big story for today. And we're talking about that recommendation for review of public office holders' salary to 114 by the Revenue Mobilization Allocation Fiscal Commission, as they feel an implementation of 114% increase is in order, judging that the last increase or review of such salaries were done in 2007, 16 years back. And they feel another review is in order, especially as there's been a total increase in commodities from 371% from 2008 till today. So they feel the judges and other elected public office holders should have a review. But anyway, we're still reviewing the issue, and we still have no other person but Mr. Wilson Ogboje, the public affairs analyst, really helping us in all maturity to remain with the issues and to discuss about it. But anyway, in case you're just joining us, you've missed a great deal. I just need a quick review. We just initially talked about what impact these will have, not just on Nigerians itself, but also on the political class, judging that an increase will further increase the level of violence, especially as they seek to be elected. But anyway, let's still look at that issue and see the outcome of such an increase if it eventually happens. Now, the Trade Union Congress and that of the Nigerian Labour Congress yesterday came out to totally condemn, in strong words, the recommendation by RMAFC, almost calling it monkey dey walk, babu dey chop syndrome. Forgive my language on that. And but I just want to know, do you see this? Because with their utterance, with their show of anger, with even reading through the lines in all of their statements, do you see this further increasing the issues as it concerns strike on account of the increase of these salary of elected public office holders? Because let's look at it. Would this not draw other major unions to come down to put their feet on the ground for a total increase in their own also wages?
It's not going to be a matter of trade unions and Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress and other unions coming up. It could even trigger a revolution. Because if you look at what happened these past few weeks after the removal of the subsidy, the Nigerian Labour Congress actually made some moves to call out workers and send feelers to various organizations that there was need for them to do something. And just as they were planning, I think the Attorney General of the Federation also went to the Industrial Court, and they have been restrained. Talked about negotiations, which they said will continue. I don't know whether they have met again.
They met day before yesterday, 19th.
Okay, and what was the outcome of their
further meetings?
Further meetings.
6 weeks implementation period.
So that before that time, Nigerians will get used to the hardship they are already going through. So when they meet again, by the time they meet again, they postpone, they meet again, postponed, not discussing anything tangible to ensure that something is done about what is going on. Because for those who have the first subsidy removal, it's not a problem. But I heard something that the daily consumption of PMS in Nigeria fell from 6 million to 4 million.
That was we consume almost 60 million liters.
Almost 60 million.
So it has now fallen down
to about 40 million. 40 million,
that.
Yes, less than 40 million. That has a telling effect on the economy. But it means that some economic activities are being abandoned. And there is a kind of paralysis that has encroached on certain very vital areas, vital sectors of the economy that need to be addressed. One was expecting that when President Tinubu announced this first of the subsidy removal, he was going to talk about measures that will be taken. Like, for instance, they say, okay, let's give us from so-so time to so-so time. We have a program. We're going to come up with intercity transport, transit. And maybe subsidize it a little bit. Because when now there's mass movement of goods that is being affected now. Somebody wants to go to Lagos. Previously, it was 12,000. Now it's gone to 21 or 22, I learned. Now, if the person was going to get goods from Lagos, and then on getting there with 20-something thousand, by the time it comes back, it will be 40-something thousand. And then this person can simply decide that it's not going to be profitable anymore. It's not going to be profitable anymore. And then, but you see, that comes down to the family level. That comes down to the food on the table. When businesses are getting crumbled, you saw what happened during this Naira swap or whatever they called it. You saw that you see a lot of businesses folded up. We don't seem to know what is going on, but there are individuals who are affected adversely, and some are affected more adversely than others. Now, the trade unions. Yeah. Now, the trade unions are monitoring a lot of what is going on. Those people high up there who have more than enough to take care of themselves and are still clamoring for more and will approve more for themselves don't know the plight of the ordinary man. What I'm trying to tell you is this. It could get to a point where whether you bring a court injunction or not, the ordinary Nigerians will come out and say, no, we have had enough. We have had enough of this. You either make or break.
Okay, now look
at what happened in Sri Lanka.
Yes, I do. Now, let's still look at it, because you talked about the trade union and their reaction even to the removal of fuel subsidy. Yeah. And looking at such reaction, you also made mention of Shehu Sani. He was also in the news yesterday, and he said it will only be proper if such an increase is done after an increase in workers' salaries. That's what he said. Yes. That the recommendation should only come after an increase in workers' salary. But looking at what the trade unions are also insisting for, a 200,000 naira minimum wage. Now, my question is, they are insisting for a 200,000 naira minimum wage. The Revenue Mobilization Allocation Fiscal Commission is also thinking of a 114% increase in elected and judicial public office holders. But my question is, should we think towards increase of wages, knowing that these persons are only representing almost just 10 or less than percentage of Nigerians? What now happens to the ordinary Nigerian that cannot also be affected with any increase? So should we think towards increasing, or should we even think towards downward reviewing and also seeing how we can increase on the economic activities of the country that will bring about a reduction in inflation? So should increase not bring about more inflation rather than a reason of how to bring down the inflation?
Now, I think what the president has to really come out and address in the interest of economic stability is for him to tell us at this time by what percentage do you want to increase the salaries of public servants. For instance, I think I heard something about 40% increase in servants, or the salaries of public minimum wage. 40% increase.
That's what they are proposing.
That's what they are proposing, and may not be effected for the next 1 year if at all it is approved. May not be effected. You may be surprised to know that the last minimum wage adjustment,
yes,
the
former president
Buhari, that some states have not even implemented.
With our findings, almost 23 states have not
implemented it. Now you come up, you want to increase it by 40%. I will not introducing chaos into the
and increase the have and have nots.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying now. That's chaos now. That is chaos. People are not able to put food on the table. The one you said you proposed and was approved has not been implemented in very many states. Now, you are even while talking about this 114% increase, they have removed some sectors of the public service. They have removed doctors, and those ones will come up with a series of strikes because they have their own trade unions. This is not satisfactory at all to very many segments of of the society. You are thinking of how to better your lot. Let me tell you, when you increase salaries by somebody who is earning 2 million, you are increasing it to 4 million. We're not talking about the other allowances. We're not talking about the security vote that goes to governors, which is money that is not accounted for in any way, besides all other areas that governors do not account for. Even the senators, there are very many areas they are not accountable to anybody. They are supposed to be accountable, but they are not accountable to anybody. They just go there, collect the money. There are areas, their constituencies are supposed to be developed. There's allocation for them to put in place projects that will make life easy for the people. I've told you that there is only one person. Apart from Mrs. Omo, I've not seen any senator who did a tangible work. Apart from Mrs. Omo, who was in the Senate some years ago, who constructed that ring road around the Soko, from which contractors are now taking contracts, and that has served as a base. That ring road she put in Isoko has served as a base, and it's making it easier for contractors to move into
Interland.
Into the rural, more remote areas. How many of them have been accounting for anything?
Now, anyway, let's still remain with the legislature, because you brought that up. My next question, because if you look at what the commission said, they said they are also waiting for that of the federal legislatures and state House of Assembly legislators to implement this. But it's only important that I also bring to the to the table of our viewers and listeners that this very review of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission is backed by law, and is backed by Section 84 and Section 124 of the federal of the 1999 Constitution as amended. So basically, they are in order in such recommendation. We should really let our viewers and listeners understand that with such recommendation, they are backed by law to do, because they are empowered by that very Section 84 and also Section 124 of the Constitution to give such recommendation. But they also made mention yesterday that undermining their recommendation is there, in order for it to be implemented and for those in the public sector or public office holders, elected public office holders, to enjoy these benefits, they have to go through the backing of legislative law. And that means in case of those in the FCT and others and the federal level, they have to go get the legislative backing of the National Assembly. But for those in the state and local government level, they have to also get the legislative backing of the State House of Assembly. So my question now, where you're talking about the legislature, do you see them approving such recommendations?
Who are going to be the beneficiaries of this legislation you are talking about? Is it not these same politicians? Is it not the same politicians?
So you see them approving?
So you think they are ready to... Have you seen any politician who came out here and said, look, my salary for 1 year, I'm donating it for one thing or the other? Granted you that many of them were already rich before going there. How many Nigerian politicians have come out to say, this year I've decided that I will not take my salary? They have enough money to themselves. How many have come out to say, I'm going to use my salary, sacrifice my salary to improve the lot of maybe some organizations or the poor, or I'll give all my salary out as scholarship this year? How many? Have you heard any Nigerian? So they will always back the laws that are put in place to improve their lot. They are not interested, I repeat, they are not interested in making anybody comfortable. You can see that when it is time for elections, you see how much they put in. You don't know, maybe you are not very conversant with what is going on. Yeah. But you know how much you go to your community to vote, and when they say write his name down, they write name down. At the end of the whole thing, they share money. The money they are sharing, where is it from? Are they not going to recover it? Are they not going to recover it when they have got there? So there is no time you are going to find a Nigerian politician coming up and saying, for the whole of this year, only somebody in Osun State said something like that, whether Regboshala also, was the only one who said he donated his salary for 6 months for something. I've not heard another.
But do you see President Bola Ahmed Tinubu putting pen to paper in, even if they back it by law, do you see him putting pen to paper on this very recommendation?
Well, I've told you that I know him to be a pragmatic politician.
Okay.
And I don't rule out the possibility of his being magnanimous enough to say, you're talking about 114%. Let us make it 50%. He can do it. But if he doesn't do it and he approves it, it means that he is signing something that is unprecedented, and the fallout will come upon everybody. It's not something that we benefit only the elected officers that we will say is desirable. We will also prepare for the fallout that will come from the other side, because the rich get richer,
why the poor
and the poor gets poorer.
They are still looking at it. Funny enough, the commission also, day before yesterday, on the mining they made such recommendation. They also brought to Nigerians' notice that it is most likely to increase the personal cost of governance. That's what they said, if it is implemented. So the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission understand the implication of such implementation of their recommendation, and they talked about increasing the personal cost of governance. And with the lowest, today, Nigerians are ranked among countries with the lowest human development index, according to the world ranking from the World Bank. We are 167 among 174 countries globally, like I said, according to the World Bank 2022 report, when it comes to issue of human development and
human capital
development. And one very corporate responsible for this is the high cost of governance. And you would also agree with me that we at present, we're spending almost 80% of our revenue in the service of debt. All because of
80%
and running over 90%. All in the avenue of us borrowing to deal with recurrent expenditure. So my question is, do we even have the money?
Initially, when you said that, I said, if we have the resources to cope, if we have the resources to increase salaries, not only for elected political officers, for everybody, so that we'll continue moving like that until one day the economy will crash and all of us will settle down and begin to think of how to build afresh. Because we're not thinking, look, I don't know, we have an economy that is totally reliant on revenue from crude oil. We're not thinking of what to produce to export. We're not producing anything for export. We're not even producing enough for our own consumption. We have a country that is at the verge of collapse. And look, until we restructure this country, this kind of mentality of how to improve a sector to the detriment of another will continue. Because if you look for instance, look at the old Western region.
Yeah.
They had 27 corporate bodies committed to production of goods and generation of the economy, improved generation of the economy. 27, older group of companies, 27. I don't think any of them is existing today. None is existing today. And when that was going on, look at the East. Look at the North. There was competition. Today it's a question of, at the end of the month, it's a unitary economy where at the end of the month, every state goes to collect money. They go home, share it, eat it. Nobody is thinking of how to invest. No government is thinking of how to invest. No government is thinking of how to encourage investment. The governments are not investing. They are not encouraging investors to come and develop the economy. So every is a question of bring the money, we share it, and next month we will go again. Someday will come. Now that we're using 99%, I believe it's up to 99% of our earnings from crude oil to service our external debts. The time is coming, they will not be able to pay salaries. Whether you like it or not, very soon, the federal government will not be able to pay salaries. The state governments will not be able to pay salaries. Then we will know where we are going. Create a security conscious environment around ourselves, not increasing salaries for people to pack home and eat without considering what exactly are the priorities of the country at the moment.
Well, thank you so much on that account. We need to really wrap things up today. I would really want to thank all our lovely callers, viewers, and especially those that won't send messages even after the show. The messages are sometimes overwhelming, and we always would pride ourselves of doing more to please you guys. But also, on behalf of the crew right here, well, thank you. But for me, Michael Gobadi and the crew, bye for now. God willing, see you tomorrow.